What do you dread? Welcome to this edition of Tuesday Talks with Twyla. I ran across this word last week and I was fascinated with how, first of all, how I had kind of skipped over this emotion and how much it is similar to fear. And I've talked about fear a lot, right? But dread is very similar because it's one of those emotions that isn't really, I mean, we feel the emotion now, but it's about something in the future, which is so interesting, right? So we're feeling dread in the moment because of something we anticipate in the future. Hasn't even happened yet. And that's kind of how fear is, right? Fear shows up as one of those emotions that almost what we feel is the resistance to it, but not like I always describe being like in the fear or being afraid as like somebody just came into my house. Like, I'm trembling, I'm actually physically scared. That's different than I'm afraid to put this video out on Facebook or I'm afraid someone might not like me, right? That's a different, completely different experience, right? But dread is similar because it's based on something we anticipate. It hasn't happened, and I don't know that we even know it's going to happen. But the way I want to talk about it today is more related to things we dread doing or things we dread that we avoid that maybe would be on a path to growth, to expansion, to achieving goals, right? Because there's things in our life that we just dread. And if you set a goal, a lot of things you dread will come right up to the surface, right? So I wanted to talk about this in that frame of mind. So I went to the Googles, of course, and got the definition of dread. It's a strong, heavy feeling. So first of all, it's everywhere that it was defined. It was strong, it was intense, it's heavy. Feeling of fear or anxiety, and anxiety came up a lot, was like fear and anxiety or apprehension and anxiety, like anxiety was paired in there quite a bit too, about something that might happen in the future. Might happen. So that was interesting, right? It might happen, but it might not. But we dread it before we even know for sure, right? So in experiencing intense sense of anticipatory fear or impending doom, that was interesting, right? And the impending doom I felt like was like um that's more of like it's in the very near future, right? It's not down the line, it's not, a ways away. And it can often be accompanied by a physical sensation. So, a heavy stomach, a racing heart, muscle tension. And all of that can come with fear and anxiety as well, right? I think some of these emotions can be interchanged. And it was interesting how the feeling of dread I had kind of glossed over. I hadn't really put any thought into it. And when I did, when I ran across this, the content that I was consuming was related to things that we dread doing and how to get through them. Because if we avoid them, a lot of times they're things that are in the way of reaching or achieving our goals. So that was interesting, right? So anticipate negative event in the future. Again, we're anticipating something bad is going to happen in the future. And then the apprehension or anxiety about something about to happen. And then here was the how to dissipate the emotion quickly. Anchor in the present moment, which does what? It changes our focus. It changes what we're thinking about to thinking about the present moment, observing our environment. And it even gave like focusing on like 5 things you can see, 4 things you can hear, 3 things you can smell, right? And so it kind of went through like just something to do to like you've directed your focus in a different direction. And then take some slow, deep breaths, which just helps you kind of connect with your body, right? And the goal here with all of it is to recognize that nothing has happened right now. It is something that we're anticipating might happen. It might, but it might not. Now, if you're dreading doing something like this task that you dread doing, that is because you dread how it makes you feel in the moment while you're doing it. Maybe it's something that you have to think really hard about. Maybe it's something that you just don't enjoy doing it. And so you dread it before you get into doing it. And some things we dread and then we do them anyway. right? Like there's some things we probably dread and never do, right? Like I would dread if I ever had to like jump out of an airplane and skydive. Like no interest in doing that. And I've heard lots of different things about how transformational it can be, and no thank you, right? It's not for me. I would absolutely dread it. But so there's things that we dread that we never have to do. And yet maybe we spend some time dreading that thing that we never have to actually do. That like maybe might happen, but it doesn't, like it's probable, like it's so not probable that it would ever happen, right? And so I want you to think about that. Like, where does dread show up for you? And is it in relation to things that you'll never have to do anyway? So let's just call our brain out and be like, okay, thank you, brain. But also, like, because that's the caveman brain, right? That's trying to protect us and keep us safe and conserve energy and all of that. Okay, thank you, brain. But also, that's never going to happen. So I don't need to spend any time wallowing in dread of something that will likely never happen, right? Now, there's things that we dread that we have to do that we know is going to happen. I have to finish this task. I have to get this thing done. And I dread doing it. And so then we have to get really curious about this, right? Like, what is the worst thing that's going to happen about this thing that I'm dreading doing? Like, I'm going to be uncomfortable. I'm going to not like it. I'm going to not enjoy it. I'm going to have to think really hard. I'm going to have to concentrate. Probably going to be interrupted a lot, right? Like all the reasons that we're dreading the thing. Like, what is that about? And what is like the worst case scenario, right? I get interrupted 50 times while I'm trying to complete this task. What is it that we're actually, right? Like, what is the part of it that we're dreading? And usually that's related to an emotion, right? I'm dreading doing this task because I'm going to get interrupted. And if I get interrupted, I'm going to get frustrated, right? I'm going to feel frustrated. I'm going to be trying to concentrate and I'm going to get distracted and it's going to be frustrating. I just want to finish this through nice and quiet. Nobody interrupts me. I just do it from start to finish. And then I wouldn't dread it as much, maybe. And maybe I wouldn't dread it at all. So get curious about what it is about the thing that you actually dread. And if it's something that like is very improbable to happen, why are we even dreading it to start with? Like what's happening there? Like what are we anticipating and why are we letting our brain kind of squirrel away into what I call irrational thoughts, right? I have a podcast or a Tuesday Talks on that, right? Because we entertain these irrational thoughts. They're irrational. It's not likely to happen. And yet I'm letting it affect how I feel. I'm feeling this heaviness. I'm feeling this very strong, very intense emotion in my body about something that may never happen, very likely won't happen, right? But I'm thinking these things and I'm feeling this emotion because of it right now in this moment. I'm experiencing it right now. It hasn't happened. It probably won't happen. Why am I doing that, right? Why do we do that? Well, our caveman brain, that's why, right? That's all you need to know is that's what the caveman brain does. Thank you, brain. I don't want to go there. I don't want to live there. I don't want to experience that. Let's just take a look at what we're thinking, see what we can clean up, see what we can think instead. How can we redirect our mind? Maybe what emotions do we need to, maybe it's bringing up something that is a past emotion and it's something that needs to be processed. Let's get curious about all of that, right? Because what is the worst thing here? That we feel the negative emotion, that we actually feel it. Now, if you're dreading something that might happen, you're feeling that right now, right? And the longer you think that way, the longer you feel that way. So when you can redirect your thinking, you can maybe resolve some of that past emotion that needs to be processed, and you feel that and process it all the way through, and then it's gone, right? You don't have to keep revisiting it. And I've talked about that numerous times, right? If I wake up with that panic in my gut in the morning, the more I resist it, the more times that happens. The faster I embrace it and allow it and let it process through, the quicker it doesn't come back again, right? I don't ever see it again until there's something else I need to process. And that's usually how it shows up for me. So we want to get really curious about that, because the worst thing for us, right, that we think is the worst thing is feeling this emotion. And we'll do everything in our power to avoid it at all costs. And then what that is dwelling in the dread of the feeling of possibly something, right? And so we live in that experience that is very uncomfortable, that is very stressful, is very intense, just because we're anticipating this would maybe happen, but maybe not, right? Why are we choosing that? And we want to, right? Notice my words. We're choosing that. That's a decision that we are making, maybe unconsciously, but we're making it. So we want to bring that awareness and figure out, like, what's going on here? Why am I doing this? Why am I entertaining all of these irrational thoughts? Like, no, we're not, that's just nonsense. Let's redirect our thinking. And so we redirect our thinking to something positive. And that's how we would take care of the stuff that we're anticipating maybe in the future. But what about the things that are the things that we need to do, the things we're dreading that we're going to need to do, right? Like we're living in the dread of it before we're going to do the thing. So sometimes it's things that we anticipate that's never going to happen or might not happen. But then there's things that we know are going to happen. I have to do these things, right? And I'm dreading doing them. The longer you're in the dread, the longer you're experiencing that negative emotion, the more you're dragging that out, right? The faster you can get to, okay, I dread this, but I got to do it, so let's just do it, right? Let's just get it over with. Let's just rip the Band-Aid off. Let's just eat the frog, if you've ever heard of that phrase or read the book. Let's just get the thing done. Because what we'll do is we'll wallow in that dread and drag out the way we feel about the thing that we don't want to do. And we're compounding it massively, right? You might be dreading it all week for this one thing that you have to do on like Thursday or Friday, and you spend all week dreading it, right? It's like, okay, I mean, it's going to happen either way. And the longer I'm dreading it, the longer I feel all of this negative emotion, where I can just jump in and get it done, get it over with, and feel whatever discomfort I feel while doing that thing I'm not wanting to do and get it over with. And I don't have to spend this much time feeling dread before I do this thing. I can just jump in and do it and get it over with, like done. Like, I always think of the kids in speech class, right? Like there's some of them that want to be the first one. Like, I don't want to sit here and dread this. Like I was always in awe at those ones. Like, I want to go first. Like, really? No way. I want to go last. Like, save me for last. And then I would sit there and dread it the whole time. I would maximize my dread feeling. I would maximize feeling awful before I had to get up and give my speech. My nerves would just be like, right? If I did it first, I wouldn't have time for the nerves to even ramp up, right? My nervousness maybe this is how nervous I was going to get. And I would go from 0 to 50, like in that, instead of like over the hour closer to the end of class, right? Maybe, but it still would be more minutes that you're feeling that emotion instead of just getting it over with, getting the thing done and moving on. Then the dread is gone and the motion of whatever you were going to do is gone, right? It just cleans it all up. But I don't know that we're always very aware that we're doing this. We're not always very consciously doing this. I think this is one of the things that we can fall into a pattern with. For me, for sure. Like in speech class, I would never go first. Never, ever, ever, ever. I would be the last one. And if they were asking for volunteers, I would just sit there until my name was called and I had to go. I would drag it out forever. And I also there's a lot of times for things that like I don't want to be doing, I will save it for the last minute. I, had historically been a procrastinator. Save it for the last minute. Don't get it done early. Don't get it done first. And then the longer it goes, the more I worry about, am I going to get it done on time? Am I going to get it done on time? Just get it done, right? Dreading doing it, dreading not getting it done, dreading it being late, whatever that is, like you can just eliminate all of that and just be like, right? None of it. I'm just going to jump right in and get the thing done. And really what you're avoiding all of the dread then, right? I mean, you're still feeling whatever discomfort of the thing that you didn't want to do, but you're really eliminating all of the dread, because dread is an anticipatory feeling. It is that fear or anxiety or apprehension of the anticipation, right? It's all of that. It's prior to. Once you're in whatever it is, task, thing that you're doing, you're feeling a different emotion, right? Scared, worried, maybe different kind of anxiety, right? But you're not feeling dread. because dread is the anticipatory feeling, feeling something different. And as soon as that thing is done, it's over, it's all done. And you can be like, whoa, that wasn't so bad. Right. And usually, at least for me, those things that I'm dreading doing, I just get them done. I feel so much better afterwards. Right. And that's what my coach was saying. Like the reward for the dopamine hit reward that you get for the completion of the thing is not better when you've dreaded it for longer, right? Like my sense of accomplishment when I gave the speech wasn't better because I suffered for an entire 50 minutes before I gave it. No, if I would have done it first, probably I think if I would have done it first, I think my reward feeling would have been even more. Like it would have been like, yes, done, rocked it. The rest of the time I could just sit back and listen to everybody else's speeches, right? I think it would be better, but it's definitely not better after waiting or living through the dread for a certain amount of time or an extended amount of time. It's just not. You don't negate your reward by suffering more first. And I think that suffering part, like I ran across that word today and I'm like, oh, I don't use that enough, because really that's what we're doing, right? When we're creating this negative experience for ourselves, we're causing our own suffering unnecessarily. It is not necessary to suffer. It doesn't make the reward better. It doesn't make the sense of accomplishment better. It's not like some rite of passage or we're like, stronger or better if we've suffered first. None of that, right? We're creating all of that nonsense. It doesn't even need to be there. It's irrelevant. So the the reward that we get at the end, right? The sense of accomplishment, we can speed all that up by just jumping into whatever the task is and not feel any dread at all. So maybe we start our day and we're like, okay, I'm going to start planning my schedule, and boy, I'm really dreading doing that thing. You know what? I'm going to do that thing first. I'm going to do that one. I'm going to do that thing first in the day. Because what do we do instead? We go to our email, we squirrel away, we try to find some other things. And what else can I work on? Like busy work, right? Like just, oh, I can answer these emails, and oh, I need to, do these like little simple tasks. And I'm pushing off and pushing off this thing I don't want to do. But what if, like, okay, what's on my calendar? What do I not want to do today? I'm doing that first, getting that over with. And then I'm going to have my sense of accomplishment. And man, I'm probably going to keep that momentum and I'm going to get some stuff done, right? I might pick another thing I dread and get that done, right? And it's all available to us. It's always available for us to make that decision, to decide, I'm not going to just sit and wallow in this dread. This is ridiculous. I don't have to feel this way before I do the things. And if it's something that's maybe never going to happen, I don't need to feel that at all. I don't have to entertain that at all. And that's always available to us. So we want to make sure that we tap into and we get curious about this, because I didn't realize I've talked about fear a couple times on here and different emotions and avoiding emotions and just, in general emotions that we avoid, but I've never talked about dread specifically. And in fact, I've listened to this podcast more than once. I know I have. And it was like, yeah, we all have things that we dread, right? I just kind of like, I don't know, it didn't land like it did this last time. And I thought, yeah, I definitely have some things in my calendar that on my schedule or on my to-do list that I dread doing. Or this is the better way that I came to the conclusion. I was like, wonder if that's why I'm avoiding doing those things, because I'm actually dreading doing it. So then I'm just living in that dread. I'm experiencing that feeling of dread instead of just jumping in and getting the thing done. It's like, oh, isn't that interesting? Why would I choose to do that? Why would I choose? And so then when I looked back, I was like, okay, where are some things like in my schedule or on my calendar? Did I have some things that I dreaded doing? Like, what did that day look like? It looked very unproductive. Well, there's a lot of stuff on my calendar that I dread doing. So there's a lot of unproductive time before that happens, because I'm just, well, I can go do this and oh, I can go do that. And I end up derailing my schedule because I don't want to do that thing I'm dreading doing. But if I just did it first and I got the reward afterwards, felt so much better, I would probably have the momentum to just knock out a bunch of other stuff. And I was like, oh, that is interesting. What a way to look at it, so that I tackle the dread things first. And I notice that that's how I'm feeling about it, that I'm dreading doing it. Right. And it's not always like we're afraid of the outcome, or we're afraid of um like after it's done, right? Like giving the speech, like afraid of what people will think about it. Like what the grade will be, or what comments they'll make, or what they'll think about you, that kind of stuff. Like in the moment you're feeling, right, like the nerves, and the, am I going to remember my words, and how am I coming across? Do I sound like I know what I'm talking about? Am I saying too many times? Am I stuttering, like what, that kind of stuff. So it's interesting to really take a look at, what am I actually avoiding, dreading doing the task, dreading um, after it's done, the next thing, right? Like, what is it actually that we're dreading? And so it can be a combination of both, right? It could be like, once I do this and put it out into the world, everybody's going to see it. Like recording this video. Like, and I don't dread doing these. I used to. For the longest time, I dreaded it. And most of it was just coming up with new topics. Now I just expose myself to some different content that gets like my thinking going, and I inevitably come up with it, like I did with this one. And it was like um taking a look at so like dreading like a video like this, like dreading doing it, or dreading putting it out there and having people see it, dreading what they might think of me, dreading what they might comment about. What is the dread? What is the thing that you're actually fearing, that you actually have anxiety about? And what are you anticipating? What is your apprehension about? Is it doing the task, like actually performing whatever it is? And then why is that? And then taking a look at, can I do those things first? Can I just get my dread tasks done first, knock them out, have them over with, and then I have that huge surge of energy, that sense of reward, that dopamine hit, and I've got that energy to catapult and give me momentum for the day, that I can create a lot of other things. And then it's like, okay, that wasn't so bad, right? Like actually getting the thing done usually is not nearly as bad as we've anticipated, right? Like the definition of this is impending doom to complete a task. What? Or like intense, heavy, strong feeling, right? Like that's how this is described, and that's how it shows up for us. It's very strong, it's very intense. And so that's what we're choosing to feel while we're feeling the emotion of dread, just to do a thing, right? Like, okay, come on. And then I can have that sense of accomplishment, that dopamine hit. Let's get the next thing done, right? Like, okay, what's next? Like, what else do I not want to do that I'm dreading doing? And let's just start knocking these things out. And just noticing, like I hadn't really even realized that there were, things I was avoiding because I was actually dreading doing them. I hadn't connected that as that. And so, and I kind of realized in my mind after I kind of went back through and like got curious about it, was like, well, so what was what was the actions I was doing? Because sometimes when like, and that's why I bring this stuff to you, right? Because I want you to be looking at this from all different directions. So I had to come at it like to try to find maybe some things that I was dreading. I was like, oh, I noticed that I like to do a lot of busy work first thing in the morning, or I want to like try to like find something else I should be doing. Like, what is that about? Well, because I'm dreading doing this thing, I'm avoiding it by doing all of these things instead. And I'm pushing that off and I'm pushing that off. But the dread doesn't go away. If you're dreading doing something, you're going to dread it until you do it. And then when it's over, it's done, right? Like it's just canceled out. You can't dread something because dread is anticipatory. So once it's completed, once you've jumped out of the plane, it's done. You can't dread something once you're in it, once it's over, once it's complete. You dread it prior. You anticipate it, right? It's all of that in the future. It's all of the looking from today forward. Crazy, right? So I think this one is very interesting, and I think it can be a little bit tricky because if you're like me, your mind is very complex. And so trying to figure out, what am I thinking? What am I feeling? Because I didn't originally think that I was feeling dread, right? But when I noticed my behaviors, I was like, oh yeah, there's stuff I don't want to do. And so I'm dreading doing them. And when you define it that way, and I was looking at the definition, I was looking through what I had and how I was handling it. Yep, that's what I was doing, right? And that's what I was experiencing. I was causing my own suffering unnecessarily when I could have just jumped into the thing, not dreaded it at all, or dreaded it for a shorter amount of time, got it done, got my dopamine hit, got my energy boost, and headed off to the next thing. Like, oh, that's available to me. Why wouldn't I choose that instead? Right. And so that's why I bring this to you. Because if it's like for me, it was like, I want that instead. Like, I didn't realize that was available to me. I didn't realize that's what was going on. This brought the awareness for me to go, whoa, let's not do that. Like, why are we doing that? We don't even realize we're doing it. It's just a pattern that we create. And it's just kind of an automatic reaction that we can have to things. And remember, our caveman brain is designed this way, right? Conserve energy, avoid pain, right? What's the third one? Seek pleasure. And so that's why the brain does this. Like all of that. Like if I'm have a task, like I'm probably going to have to exert some energy, right? I'm probably going to have to maybe feel some discomfort. Well, that's the opposite of pleasure, right? So my brain is going to be like, no, 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 we don't want to do that. And so then that's where the dread comes from. And so if you're just like, it feels like it happens to you, right? That's when your brain just does what it does. And so it's like, no, 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 nope, we're not doing that. We're going to get this done right away. I understand what's happening now. I can see what's going on. I have the awareness and I have the tool. I know what to do. I'm going to do this thing first. I'm not going to wallow in dread all day. I'm not going to wallow in this heavy emotion anticipating the apprehension and anxiety of doing the thing. Why would I want to choose to stay there? I don't have to, right? It's a choice. No. But the thing is, it has to be a conscious choice, right? Because the unconscious just does this. So we have to consciously go, whoa, I'm not doing that, and decide and be intentional, redirect our mind. And that's the trick. That's always the trick to all of this, right? Because our brain runs on default. It runs on the old programming. It's efficient. It replays everything. It goes to the default safety mode, and that's what it provides to you, unless you direct it otherwise, which you always have available to yourself if you're being consciously aware of what's going on and catching it and figuring it out. So I'm very excited to hear if this resonates for you. I was kind of excited about this because I've talked about fear a lot. And even for me, like I didn't, like when I first started kind of exploring fear, like I didn't really think that there were things that I was like fearing or that I was feeling fear. But then when I started to look at like the definitions and things I was doing in my life, I thought, no, there's some fear there. Isn't that interesting? That I wasn't identifying it that way, that I wasn't calling it that. But what I was experiencing and what I was doing, like my actions, that's what was happening, right? And so I want to try to bring these things to you because if it's hard for me as a coach to catch these things on myself, it might be for you that doesn't practice this work every day, even though we should be, right? We have to be diligent and do these intentional thought and redirects and mindset work and emotional work every single day, because when we don't, we fall back into the old wallowing until we get to the point where this becomes the new program. This becomes the new go-to, right? And then that doesn't mean that it never comes up, because it does. Just we catch it faster, we catch it easier, we redirect quickly, and it just doesn't last as long like it does now. It might be a day that I don't realize, oh, I've just been living in dread all day. Like, okay, back to putting the work back in place. And I'll do that, right? I'll have, something new and I'll be excited about it and my redirecting my thoughts and everything's going along. And then one day I'm just like, when did I stop doing that? Like, what happened here? And that's how it is. That's how our brain, like, how many days does it take before you actually have this implemented where you don't ever have to try so hard for it? And there might be times that life is going to life, right? Things come up and you just swiftly fall back into this pattern or that thing. And so it's ongoing work. It's daily work. It's constant regulation of all of it. And we're here for it because that's our life experience. And I'm here to bring you all of these tips and tools so that you can catch it faster and redirect it, make the change, and have a different life experience. Because we shouldn't be sitting around in dread. Who wants to do that? I know I don't. So sign me up for changing the anticipatory feeling of dread. So if you find yourself experiencing this, how does it show up for you? How do you catch it? What do you dread doing, right? Like, what are the things that you don't want to be doing? And how does that make you feel? And what are you thinking about it? And what can you think instead? Or can you just jump in and do it, right? Like, I'm never going to change my thoughts about the thing I don't like doing. I mean, sometimes you might be able to, right? But for the most part, if it's something I just really dislike doing, but I have to do it, I just need to jump in and get it done. I can do some thought work around, maybe I, create some more desire around the thing. Like, let's say you hate walking, but you want to be walking every day. things like that. I think that, there is some value in changing our thoughts around doing the thing, that we don't hate it so much. But if there's something that you're just like my coach, she hates to work out. And she'll just tell you that, okay, I've tried to change my thoughts about it. It didn't work. I'm never going to like working out, but I do like how I feel when it's over. And I do like the progress and seeing the changes in my body. So I'm committed to doing it, but I dread it every time. So I just get it done first thing in the morning. So I don't spend the whole day dreading this thing that I have to do, that I'm going to do, that I don't want to do. And so it's like, oh, genius, right? Let's just get it done. Whatever it is that we dread, just get it done so we're not wallowing in the dread, and just get it over with. Have it done, right? Check it off. We're not doing this, we're not feeling this. And then instead, we're getting that immediate boost of the dopamine hit, of the excitement, the accomplishment, and the energy and the momentum to keep doing more. All right. Until next week, have an amazing week, avoiding your dread.